I'm Jacob Grenz.
And I'm Winnie Stone.
And this is Come On In, Queens. We're pointing to the back now because why?
What?
We're pointing to the back now, to the back of the room, because why? Oh, they'll probably see we have a special guest already in the camera. It's like, I'm like, wait for the big reveal.
Should I do like Monet?
Yeah. Just like lean out of shot and then come back in as soon as we say your name, and that'll work. Okay, you got to get up on the mic, babe. Are we going to skip the who are you today?
Yeah, let's just jump right in.
So, do you want to? Okay.
Yeah, okay, let's just, from the top.
Oh, okay. That was so funny, though.
Hi, I'm Jacob Grenz.
And I'm Winnie Stone.
And you're 5 miles away from the mic. And this is
Come On In, Queens.
That was what we added last time. I feel like we have to add something each time. Mm-hmm. Okay. We'll dance like dumb white people. Okay.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Thank you for asking. I'm Johnny Marth. I'm your friend, so I don't know how to answer that.
Well, but
our friend
also,
Johnny Marth.
You are a horror aficionado.
Oh, yeah. I love horror movies.
Yes.
It's like my first identity marker. Before a little gay person, I was a toddler watching people getting chopped up, so...
Oh, well, that's not
Perfect.
traumatizing.
Yeah,
is it?
that's why I'm here.
much.
No, it's not traumatizing.
No, it's not. You didn't find it.
It helped her cope.
It found me.
Okay.
Killer Clowns found me.
Killer Clowns. Yes, I was thinking about some of the movies that I loved as a kid, and some of them did actually traumatize me, like Jaws.
Oh, okay.
Even I watched it on a VHS with my uncle, and my parents were mad at him because after that I was afraid to get in the lake without being able to see my feet. I still am. We went to a lake this weekend, and I find it a little bit creepy to not see my feet in a lake.
I don't like
get you.
In a lake.
I don't like touching seaweed.
Oh, yeah, that's a weird...
I like
My tits are gonna fall out.
I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was traumatized by things that aren't horror movies. So,
Yes,
like, The
same
Witches
girl.
with Angelica Houston. For some reason, that fucked me up real
I
good.
thought you meant other things than movies. You were trying.
Oh, well, I mean,
Weren't we
that's
all?
a different podcast, but yes.
Well, yeah,
that's how we
well-
all met each other, I think.
We'll have you on for part 3 of other
Oh, my
traumas.
God.
We love
I would,
that.
get those talking points ready. I won't need points, probably. But yeah.
Okay, so you are a horror movie buff since a child. Tell us how it started. What's your history with it?
I mean, it's kind of pre-memory. I had all of Killer Clowns from Outer Space and a movie called Dolls memorized before I was 4 years old, probably.
Dolls?
Dolls, Dolls.
Me?
Yeah. It's a movie about Winnie coming into
For
herself.
me? What is this? Because I
it's
also had
wonderful.
the Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yes.
Nightmarish.
love
Too
it.
young to watch it. However, obsessed.
Yeah, completely. I used to, when it was snowing out, I would make my brother act out scenes from the movie, but I was Debbie the girl, of course, and he was all the men.
As is the case with gay kids.
Dolls,
yeah.
you probably know Puppet Master, right?
Yes,
It's like,
that movie.
movie series that started in like 1989, and
Yes.
there's 15 of them. It's the same production company, but it's basically a fairy tale about a little girl, her family, like an actual wicked stepmother, and her asshole father get like stranded in the English countryside, and they go into a mansion filled with dolls that come to life and kill people. But yeah, I've always loved dolls. I like the uncanny in general. I like things that aren't completely human. I understand why people find it creepy, but I find it very comforting.
So do you like all of Katya's sort of decor with all of her
Yeah, I mean, that's what my house
masks
would look like if I had money for fake body parts.
Fair
When I
enough.
lived in DC, I even took it with me when I moved to Chicago. I had a full-size mannequin that I would just keep in my room to scare tricks and
Well,
stuff.
that's not unsettling to your neighbors.
Yeah.
I mean, I got it from a neighbor, my upstairs neighbor.
There was a sex shop down on Broadway that closed, and I got a call from a friend that was like, "Hurry, come down! There's a bunch of mannequins on the sidewalk." And we all flew down there, and I got like a few like really pretty ones.
And then like city rats, they all just like pick apart the mannequins.
So we didn't actually say what the episode was about now that we're a few minutes in, but today we are talking about The Final Girl,
Yeah.
which is
You gotta cheat, honey.
something that cheat to camera. Which way?
You're literally like your back is.
Oh no! Today we're talking about The Final Girl. This is a new a setup for us with a guest, so we got to get used to this. We had wanted to do this ever since we thought about doing this podcast.
Yes. Yes, it was one of like the ideas that we could switch it up. It wouldn't always have to be all about Survivor or just about Drag Race or
Yeah, and we've talked a lot on this podcast about the idea of just being whittled down from a big group to a small group, and that was, or even a final person like Survivor is, or reality competition. Yeah. That's something that entices us about Survivor, about Amazing Race, Big Brother for that matter.
And you told the crayon story, which was fucking weird.
I'm going to tell you the crayon story because I want to see if you can relate. So as a kid, I had a big box, the jumbo box of crayons. Coloring was one of my favorite activities as a kid, besides yanking my pud. I'm just kidding.
As a kid? Nothing came out? You were just doing it?
Yeah, about 15 times a day. No. But I had a giant thing of crayons, and what I would do is I would be like the Crayola Championship, and I would take one crayon at a time. I would close my eyes, and I would take one crayon at a time out until there was one crayon left. And I would be like, Burnt Sienna won this competition.
Yeah. That was your color for the day?
And that was my color. Yeah, so I just loved the idea of elimination or the final standing anything. Cool. Even with crayons.
I had
Still have nobody that relates to that story.
No, I understand. And this isn't a one-to-one, but I had, one of the dolls I had was a Posh Spice because Victoria was my favorite. And the way I would play with her was she came with, it was the tour edition of the Spice Girl dolls. She had all these stupid accessories. And I would act like she needed to go on stage but didn't have all of her stuff. So she had to go to the mall, but she didn't have any money. So she would have to kill all the clerks and steal her headset and her mini doll of herself and shit so that she can go on stage and be happy. So yeah, I think Darkness and Toys really sets the stage for the people we're going to be.
Yeah.
I would have all of my little... So I played with Barbies and I had all the Spice Girls dolls. And then they started finally making female action figures. And I was like, sweet, I can get on this train and then maybe not seem so... And I would... in my play session, it would be a very they would end up being a final girl essentially because they would just kill each other off.
Okay.
But I would come up with all these very elaborate deaths.
Yes, wonderful.
One of my favorites were throughout the session, a truck would flip over. And then one of the deaths would be someone falling from a high building onto the spinning tire face first.
It is a wonder you're not a serial killer. I said this last episode because it was you talked about cutting Survivor males' faces out of it and pasting it onto porn bodies.
I mean, we have to channel that some way. I think
we
maybe
do.
People who are repressed end up actually taking out on humans.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
Am I over that? Am I over that spike now? If you're not a serial killer by 40, are you kind of in the clear?
Well, I sure hope so.
I don't think you need an excuse or there's no rubric.
I have a list of people you can kill. So why don't you tell us about the history of Final Girl, where it came from?
Okay. Yeah, I think... Well, slashers began in the 70s, but in 1992, a woman named Carol J. Clover published a book called Men, Women, and Chainsaws. Okay. And that's where the term Final Girl came from.
What year was this?
1992.
Okay.
So we were what? I don't know.
Wow.
I wasn't reading it.
I thought
I wasn't alive.
I thought the term Final Girl was a little more recent than that. Wow.
No, yeah, so 30 years or so. And slashers were sort of dead at that point, but this woman still wanted to write a book about horror movies. And it's only in the first chapter. And in the revised edition, which is the one I read, she talks about basically, I can't believe Final Girl is what I am known for. But she's I paid my bills, so I can't be too mad.
What was her original expertise, do you know?
Well, it's a bunch of different chapters about different kinds of horror movies.
Okay.
And so the first chapter is about slashers.
Oh,
and then,
I see.
It ends up being... she defines slasher and then a slasher killer and then a final girl. And then the end is sort of talking about how the relationship between the final girl and the killer gets into a lot of gender mess and confusion. And so, yeah, the term just sort of went off from there. I mean, everybody knows it. They don't know where it came from.
Well, we do now. Thank you.
You read the book if you want to. There's some interesting stuff going on. But, I mean, it's academic. I mean, it's academic shit. So if that's not what you enjoy, you're going to hate it.
Is it all about slashers specifically, or is it sort of about the whole horror genre?
The first chapter is about slashers. Oh. It also has rape revenge movies, what constitutes a hero in horror, which is interesting because she says that rape revenge is more of a hero story than slasher, because the slasher final girl usually is just
rape revenge.
Yeah, I spit on your grave, Last House on the Left.
Yes,
yeah.
okay.
A woman gets raped and then either
then the
she or a man
empowerment after that,
kills them afterward.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I Spit on
Yeah,
Your Grave
fucking-
is an excellent one.
Yeah, I used to really love them, and now I'm older, and I'm just like, I don't want to watch this. This is actually too unpleasant.
It's a little intense. Like,
Yeah.
as we get older, I even, like, my favorite color has changed. It used to be red, and now it's like a dark blue.
That's just like
Rape Revenge.
Totally like rape. I know, that was a great comparison. Do you know what the first slasher movie was? Like, what's considered it? The first slasher?
I mean, it's contentious because
Okay.
what constitutes a slasher keeps evolving. So she
Right.
says it could be Psycho, but
Okay.
I mean, the idea of the final girl is like Marianne Crane's sister who gets saved by men at the end. So not really. Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
I was
possibly.
thinking that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It breaks conventions in a lot of ways because she also just ends up getting saved by men at the end, like two different passersby. She just hops on rides with them, but she does get tortured pretty heavily.
Yes.
Yeah.
In a disturbing way.
Yeah, it's one of the more difficult ones to watch.
It is very difficult to
Yeah.
watch the original.
Yeah, and I can't imagine trying to film that movie. But there's also
Have you seen it?
I've definitely seen it, but I think it's been so long I couldn't.
The original? Yeah.
It's kind of an exhausting movie to watch. It feels like it's made by crazy people. Yeah.
I actually love the Jessica Biel
Me
one,
too.
my
I love it so
favorite.
much.
Yeah. And
I
she's
had a-
one of my favorite final girls.
Oh, that's
brunette.
good. Yeah.
Why do you like that more than the original?
There's more stuff going on. So a lot of Texas Chainsaw is pretty boring, and there's just like people very slowly going from their car to invading Leatherface's and his family's house and then getting killed immediately. There's a lot more variety in the remake.
Right. I remember.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And I just like it. I like Jessica Biel. I
do too.
was sort of at the right age.
We do?
Yeah, I like her. She hasn't done anything to me.
Well, I mean, I like Jessica Biel from the sense of that movie.
Yeah.
She was one of my
Yeah.
favorite final girls.
Yeah, she's also in a movie called The Tall Man, which is
Yes.
weird and has like no cultural impact at all. But I really liked it. The ending actually surprised me,
Yeah.
and endings don't always. So yeah, Texas Chainsaw. But then I think really Halloween is really where it comes into focus, because she's the one who actually fights back at the end. She has all of the conventions. She's sort of masculine and feminine at the same time. She takes up a phallic weapon at the end. She's asexual. Yeah, so I think that's what a lot of people would say is like where it really becomes.
Where the archetypes
Slasher.
of the final girl and the slasher come into focus is Halloween.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's
And Laurie Strode, was that her name?
Yeah, good old Laurie Strode.
Yeah.
I think my first really big horror obsession was Halloween. I saw it when I was 10, and it was just like all I could think about. I used to talk to Michael Myers when I was in bed just in case he was in my closet ready to kill me. I was like, no.
I was going to say,
Fine.
did you have any
We knew there was a reason we asked him on.
Did you have any fears, like, of the dark or anything growing up? I remember being afraid of the dark.
My friend called them my paranoia checks. At the end of the night, I would like go around to like every door and
Okay.
window and make sure everything was locked. 'Cause I just like, I guess had a fear of home invasion, like when you were asleep and like weren't aware of anything.
I was afraid of the dark. And
What a contradiction. To be afraid of the dark and also to be consuming all of this content.
I know, probably not the best for me, but I think I turned out okay.
You turned out just
Yeah,
great.
I think more than anything, I was afraid of people outside of my home watching me sleep because my bed was in front of a window. And even though it was a little high up, I just had terrifying thoughts of a man with big eyes.
I will
Looking in
never
at me.
understand, even to this day, people who like have their blinds wide open.
Yeah,
It's
never,
like,
never,
it's
never.
nighttime. If there is a single light on, no way.
No. You were talking a little bit about, like, horror films over different decades, which is interesting to me because I feel like there is a little bit of talk about the change from decades that you've seen of the final girl and how the masculine feminine sort of like roles changed a little bit.
So once Friday the 13th came out, they had a slasher in the theaters every week because it was cheap and profitable, and it just became regimented to the point that people knew what they were expecting. They knew who the final girl was the second she was introduced.
Okay.
And so they really didn't start playing with the idea of the final girl because it was so important to be by the numbers for profitability. Carol Clover talks about that in the book.
That makes sense.
So it was a formula.
Yeah.
It's like watch episodes of Survivor, formulaic.
Yeah, and people start to feel betrayed if you
Or a
deviate from it.
procedural, yeah.
Yeah, but then after like Freddy, Jason, and Michael sort of came and went, the slasher genre was dead until Scream. And then they decided to completely turn it on its head, just because why not?
Yeah.
Right.
And talk about it while they're doing it.
Yeah, and, like I don't want to say because why not, because Wes Craven had made was Craven's New Nightmare 2 years before, and that was sort of a meta slasher. And Kevin Williamson, who wrote it, also he said the sixth Friday the 13th movie was an inspiration because that had meta elements, but not like Scream did. But yeah, Scream came out, and they really they say flat out what the conventions of a slasher are, what you can and cannot do, like don't have sex and stuff.
Right.
And Sydney does all of those things, and she still survives, which is why she's one of my favorites.
She is one of your favorites.
I mean, because she's
favorites.
Enduring.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
She's funny. She doesn't fuck around. She doesn't just sit there and take it, which is what a lot of the 80s slasher final girls do, because they don't know what's happening until the end. All of their friends are dying. Laurie Strode, she sees Michael watching her, but she's like, oh, that's kind of weird. But then when she sees all of her friends dead at the end, then it really jumps into high gear. Yeah, Sydney's harassed from the third or fourth scene in the movie, and it's just the rest of the franchise, aside from the sixth one, is her just being harassed by random people.
Well, she even says in the first one, some dumb blonde that should be running, she's running up the stairs when she should be running out the front door, and then she ends up having to do just that.
Yeah. Because she locked the door. Yeah. And it's sort of Drew Barrymore. She's the blonde girl with the big boobs. Her nipples are even showing in that.
Yes.
Or is it's Tatum's whose nipples are showing? I don't know.
Well, yeah, they're
nipples,
showing.
really.
I don't remember if Drew Barrymore's. I did watch that scene many, many times.
Speaking of nipples.
Oh, trying for it.
So the purpose today, I set out to be dressed final girl chic in terms of virginal. I had this white little look going.
You're a trad wife.
And then and then as things started happening, I was like, oh shit, oh no, okay, she's becoming the vixen. So now I'm the first slutty death.
No, you could be. Have you seen Cherry Falls?
No.
Oh my god. Brittany Murphy is the final girl in it, and it's a slasher who is killing virgins. So there's a big set piece where all the teens in high school are having basically an orgy because they want to lose their virginity before the killer can get them. Yeah, so you're kind of giving Brittany Murphy a little bit in that movie.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
One of the things I was thinking about when I was thinking about my favorite final girls are the final girls that sort of kick ass, like Ripley, for example.
Yeah.
That movie was 1979, though.
Yeah.
Alien. So that was kind of bucking the archetype of the final girl, don't you think?
Yeah, she actually fights back. It was a year after Halloween, but I think Carol J. Clover is biased, and I think she's it's sci-fi, so she doesn't really see it as far. But she does call it out. She has something that's interesting. She points out is a lot of final girls have masculine names. So Ripley is sort of on it. There's Danny, Stevie. There's from the early 80s where there was a slasher every week, so they don't stand the test of time. Yeah. And over the course of the movie, you had to become more masculine in order to live.
I've always been obsessed with girl names that are also boy names.
Mm-hmm. Ashley.
And so maybe there's some weird thing with that. You know what I mean? That's
yeah.
Why did I take to that? Because as long as I can remember, I've always been fascinated by Bobby and Stevie.
Yeah.
And, wow, that might be it.
It could be.
My dad just was always obsessed with sci-fi and horror, so I was raised on it, to the point where I can watch something super gory now and just be eating my Cheerios.
Yeah, completely.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm completely desensitized as well.
Great.
Yeah. Except for rape revenge. Or if it's excessive violence toward women, I'm just this is boring at this point.
Yeah, which doesn't really happen as much anymore, thankfully, right?
Yeah, I think they've learned that people don't really want to see that.
That's not what
and
we
it's just
want
sort
to
of the queerness or gayness of villains, which is something I actually really love and to hold close to my heart. I think that's died down a lot just because people think it's no longer socially acceptable, but I think a lot of queer people want to see queer people fuck each other up.
Well,
or fuck
and
up
that's
straight
the
people.
thing with don't love the rape revenge necessarily on its face.
Okay, there you don't need to have. I mean, period. I don't love the rape revenge. Period.
I mean, I love the revenge part.
But the what's her face who did The Substance?
Oh yeah.
First film was Revenge. And you told me
Margaret
you were like,
Qualley?
oh yeah, it's a rape revenge film, and I was like, I don't like that. But then I watched it. And she gets it, she got that, yeah, we're gonna show you this, and it's gonna be shit, awful. But then you're gonna get so much payback.
Yeah.
You're gonna get so much, what's it called? What's the word?
Catharsis?
Catharsis from this.
Okay.
Psychic.
As opposed to I need a man to do this. Like, she really fucking goes for it.
Because it was made by a woman. And it was like an incredible director, but, a woman actually directing a rape revenge is going to make a big difference.
So you mentioned something, and since you're jumping to queer characters, you talked about queer people mostly being the villains, or trans people mostly being the villains.
Oh my God, yeah.
Give us some
favorite
examples.
trope.
Give us your favorite trope that you love. You want to see more queer villains.
No, it's just I've told her this before, and I'm sitting next to her, so I'm going to say it. Yeah, I have a friend in college who, like, I showed her, like, Tu Wong Fu, which, like, not completely, but there's a point where the drag queens, like, push the sheriff, and then he passes out. There's Beyond the Valley of the Dolls and New Sleepaway Camp, and my friend said, it's not a John Marth movie unless it kills someone. Like, oh, I hadn't realized how important that is to me, but, like, it's sort of all over the place. It's in Ace Ventura, for Christ's sake.
And I said he's just been manifesting this whole time.
Completely.
Turns out his whole life is just leading up to a point where I just end up murdering all of us.
Yeah, and we'll all deserve it.
Well, I mean, there are certainly signals.
Should have been nicer to me.
Should have been nicer to me. Should have called me pretty every day.
Yeah, and, like, it's a complicated history, but I mean, I've never heard a trans person say anything bad about Silence of the Lambs. Ever.
Okay.
I've heard cis people say this isn't right, but I mean, I'm going to listen to people who it impacts.
Yeah.
It's also just
I agree.
fantastic. I think it's really well done. And those same people who also love Buffalo Bill will also say it's much more offensive to have, what's her name, Cleghorn or something, at the end of Ace Ventura, where it's just like she kisses a bunch of men, and because she has a dick, they all vomit. Like, that's much grosser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Buffalo Bill was the villain in
Silence of the Lambs.
murder in Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Yes.
But for me, that says less about Hollywood painting trans and queer characters as villains, and more how they were driven to their villainy because of society.
Sure, yeah. And even in Silence of the Lambs, they're very careful to say the killer's not a trans person, but he thinks he is. Which, I mean, it's still a little iffy, but they also go out of their way. Well, what does she say? She says, they're very passive. They're not known to be violent people.
Who says that? Jodie Foster?
Yes, thank you. Okay. I was going to say something that's not her name. Yeah, Jodie Foster. So, I mean, take with it what you will. I love it. I love gay people killing people. I'll take it.
Well, I think that, I mean, as long as it's balanced, right? I think that in cinema, I think we sometimes go the other way as far as, like, where the culture is going. And it can be right in the middle. It doesn't have to swing so far over.
And the problem is, if you take away, like, a gay, queer, trans killer, they replace it with nothing.
Yeah.
So it's just, like, no visibility at all.
What I would like more is a queer final girl or final boy. Now, we don't get that very often.
I'm sure...
What? I was assuming you would have...
You're surviving? Okay.
Yeah, I'm out here.
Your life. The story of
dead.
Winnie's life.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But there is a gay slasher. I guess there's been a couple, but there's a movie called Hellbent.
Yes,
which came out in like 2004. I rented it several times.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not good, but it's
not
like
good.
all gay slasher movie, and I really like it. And I was looking it up to prepare for this, and the director of that is also the director of a movie I just watched last week. It's called The Other, and it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It's incredible. I told you to watch it.
Write it down.
Watch it now.
Write it down.
And, well, there's posterity now. And I put it in the horror group chat because I was just like, this is incredible. I was not prepared for how bad it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you did just post it.
Yeah.
We have a group horror chat called for horror
Spooky
enthusiasts.
Bitches. Or
Spooky Babes, I think.
Babes.
Yeah. Shout out to the Spooky Babes. And have you seen?
She squirts.
It's really
She's
good.
slashing it.
She's a squirter.
Have you seen Cruising? Another gay slasher.
No.
Not completely a slasher, but Al Pacino is. He's a private detective in New York City, and there's someone in the leather scene killing gay guys. It's really good.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
Early 80s.
Early 80s.
Yeah. People were protesting it because it was just. I mean, gay people didn't want it being represented, but like, it's really fucking good. And it's William Friedkin. He made The Exorcist. He made a ton of good shit.
Okay. What was that called?
Cruising.
Cruising.
It's so good. I really love it.
This is really bad positioning for me in many ways, because now I keep looking up at the screen.
Well, you would do that if you were sitting over here too. I hate to tell you.
Well,
You do. I see it in editing.
do I look good?
Okay. Well, let's each go around and say who our favorite final girl is. How about you start, Winifred?
I hate to steal it, but I mean Sidney Prescott.
Oh yeah.
It like I loved like the horror genre and stuff growing up without realizing that I did. Like, I feel like you kind of like knew that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you like knew it, sought it out. For me, it was like, this was just the household.
Sure, I see, yeah.
Because my dad just watched it. I grew up in a household where it was very much like, cover your eyes. We're not going to allow you to watch this film. It was like, no, we're going to watch this film. You can cover your eyes at certain parts.
Was it like, violence is okay, but boobs are not? That was my house.
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
Yes, violence was okay, but sex was not.
Yeah.
In mine.
yeah. It was very much like, put that pillow over your face, and it would just be like, okay.
Yeah. Titty balls are evil.
I bet you've had that happen in other circumstances.
Shut up. But it was in, 96 when Scream came out. I was old enough for like me and my little gay bestie to be like absolutely obsessed with it. And I remember we had these like big poster boards where we would write out full scenes in different colored pencil so we can memorize like the dialogue.
Yeah, love it.
And so I wasn't aware that I was sort of falling in love or had already been in love with the genre until the screams and how important and pivotal that became to me. But I will say, love Sydney, but Tatum.
Justice for Tatum. Love her. Love
she
her.
was like way
Forever.
above and beyond
That
for
tie-dye
me.
skirt, oh my god.
And we have talked about this.
Yeah.
Don't even love blondes.
Oh yeah.
I like, the slutty.
No, we've said we ourselves are blondes and our souls are blondes, but we prefer the brunette in any situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in that, I just loved how snarky she was. I loved how funny she was. And then it's so sad she went in the
Garage
first
Door.
film.
Yeah. She really could have done amazing things. Maybe not with those producers, but
Ooh, Mr. Ghostface. What's the line?
I want to be in the sequel.
I think mine was a little bit more similar in my childhood. My parents loved horror films. They were kind of the same. Like, violence is okay, like not sex. So
And y'all were religious too.
Right, but they were super religious. We couldn't watch witch movies, anything about witchery or anything about that was demonic.
Yeah.
So The Exorcist, no, we can't watch that. But the Alien films were some of my first, like, edited for television films,
Ooh,
of course,
okay.
that I watched. That I was like, oh, I love
Get away
this.
from her, you meanie.
Yeah,
You witch. Then your parents turned it off.
And I was thinking, I don't remember how they handled the alien coming out of the stomach in the edited for TV films, but I'm sure it didn't show that. I'm sure it
I
just
don't know. In the
alluded
80s,
to
I don't think
that.
they cared about that stuff.
Well, either way, so those were the first films that I really loved. So I like Ripley is one of my favorite final girls. She's a badass. You have that scene at the end where they kind of sexualize her a little bit. She gets naked.
She gets
strips.
like a level of underwear that I've never seen anybody wear.
It's wild to me in 1979 that they did that because it's like, as you said, they wanted to make her more masculine with a masculine name, and she was like a badass. But then she strips down to her bra and panties and like.
She has to be as vulnerable as possible.
And vulnerable.
Yeah, because she's about to go into deep sleep. Yeah.
Yeah. She's in like the white. No.
Yeah, it's like a white bra and panties that are seriously like this.
Tiny.
Yeah, it's almost a G-string. But the movie is basically over. Everyone's dead except for her, so she thinks she's going to cry or whatever it is. And then she's beep booping all the stuff, and the alien who's just taking a nap pulls his hand out. Yeah, it's weird.
I can't remember it, but
Well, and we talked about that and Jessica Biel. And then my other one, very impactful, because I can't remember her name. The final girl from The Descent, though.
Oh, yeah.
I like her because at the end, once she puts everything together, she stabs her friend with the pickaxe in that. It's sort of like I was comparing it to Survivor. I like the final girls like Parvati who break the trope, right?
Yeah.
Like Parvati really was somebody who broke that archetype of the nice virginal girl who wins the game.
I wouldn't even put her in that archetype. I mean, y'all know Survivor a lot better than I do. But when we get to casting our horror movie, I'm not putting Parvati
next.
Camera's there. I'm not.
God damn it.
Is this my camera?
I've been looking at the wrong. We're in a completely different setup today. We're really struggling. We're gonna get it. This is our first.
No,
guest.
I'm having a good time.
Yeah, no, this is great.
I forget what I was saying. Oh yeah, I would put her in a different role.
I agree with you. I would not put Parvati as the final girl role. However, I do like a final girl that sort of pushes the boundaries of the archetypes that we always see.
Yeah.
Okay, now that we've taken all of them, who's your...
I mean, there's dozens. I mean, just because she hasn't been mentioned yet, I'm going to say Nancy Thompson from A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
Yeah, I love her.
Nancy.
Yeah, it's funny. So I took a horror movie course in college, and they talked about all of the, final girls almost always have a boy's name, and I'm just like, what about fucking Nancy? That is the most, like, Nancy boy is a way to insult a boy for not being enough of a man. So I just thought that was funny.
Nancy is also the lead character in The Craft.
Yes, not a slasher, but let me tell you, when I was in 4th grade, I wrote a sequel to The Craft.
So do you? Well, we are. Do you classify that as horror or no? It's kind of sci-fi.
It's hard.
Right?
Sci-fi, no. I would say maybe teen drama.
Teen drama.
But it's not like people die. It's horrific what happens to Nancy.
Paranormal?
Yeah.
Paranormal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say about Nancy, I used to...
Nancy from
Nancy Downs.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
From Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, okay.
In the second one, In the second one, I wanted to... I wanted to be scared so bad that it would give me a white streak in my hair.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, that happens in the first one.
Is it the...
Yeah, the second one is with the gay boy.
The second one is very gay.
Yeah, she comes back in the third one. Oh, well, she comes in with white streaks.
But
in the third one.
It doesn't... Does it happen in the first one where you see the white streak?
She gets one in the first one. She wakes up, and I think it's when she's doing the sleep study. She wakes up, and she just has a white streak in her hair.
Interesting.
But in the third one...
In the first one, that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
But in the third one, she comes back as, like, a child psychologist, and she's learned how to style it. Yeah, I love the third one. Actually scared me. Just the back of the video jacket scared me because you see it's like a penis head Freddy coming out of the ground and eating Patricia Arquette.
Wait, which one scared you?
The third one.
The third one.
Just looking at the back, because there's a still of, like, there's a big snake with Freddy's head, and he's coming out of the ground eating a girl.
Yep.
Penis head Freddy.
It's a big dick. Yeah.
Yeah, you've heard it here first.
I doubt I was the first bitch to say it.
Okay, so do you have any other final girls that are your favorites? Maybe one that we would never even have.
Yeah, it's tough because there's a lot of people like horror, and then there's those freaks of nature who love horror, and they're just like, "Oh, you're saying her? That's so."
Did you just
common.
call yourself a freak of nature?
I'm not gonna say no, but also I'm not gonna compliment myself. I'm thinking of people like our friend Brian.
Our friend who?
Brian M.
Oh, Brian.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry.
But reading Men, Women, and Chainsaws, she mentions Hell Night, which I'd never seen before. Huh.
Brian is more of a horror fan than you are?
I mean, it's not a competition.
Okay.
But
oh, it is here. On Come On In, Queens.
I mean, I think we're both at the same level of obsession.
Okay.
So, I mean, you can
I didn't
say
know
like...
that about Brian. That's
oh my
why I
God.
was like,
Yeah,
okay.
that's its thing. Because I can say Angela Baker from Sleepaway Camp. But, I mean, that's not going to be a surprise for a lot of people, but also a lot of people haven't seen it. If you haven't seen Sleepaway Camp, watch it immediately. We'll
There
watch it
are
tonight.
some, like, legit, honest to God slashers that I've just never seen.
Because, like I said toward the beginning, in the first half of the 80s, there was one every single weekend. So there's hundreds that, like, I'm never going to see, and I don't want to.
Yeah.
But when I was reading the book, she mentions Hell Night, which is a movie, like, I'd seen the dust jacket for so many times, and it just looks stupid. But the final girl is Linda Blair from The Exorcist.
Linda Blair.
Yeah. So she's, like, maybe 19. She's a sorority pledge. And a bunch of them go into a haunted mansion as, like, hazing, and just a bunch of shit happens and people die. And her name is Marty. I like her because she knows how to fix cars, and that's like her masculine trait. And she uses auto repair to kill the villain at the end.
That's so
which
funny.
Is so odd and strange. And it's just on my mind because I saw it for the first time just recently. Nancy Thompson. I love Laurie Strode. I guess. Yeah, I didn't mention her as an actual favorite, but yeah, love Laurie Strode. I love Jamie Lee Curtis in general. For some reason, I'm such a I knew about Jamie Lee Curtis as like a 7 or 8 year old for some reason. I don't know. I've always been a 50-year-old lady.
That she existed in the world?
Yeah, I guess True Lies had come out. And
you have
liked
always
her.
been a 50-year-old
Yes,
woman.
I've always been an actual 50-year-old woman, which is why I've always felt young. But yeah, there's a ton of options. I would say Angela from Sleepaway Camp has a very special place in my heart just because of how batshit insane that movie is. Yeah, watch that immediately.
Yeah, I've never seen Sleepaway Camp.
Oh,
No,
it's so
I
good.
I maybe have, but it's been such a long time that I can't recall it.
It's a ripoff of Friday the 13th, but it has actual preteens in it. And it is somehow even lower budget than Sleepaway Camp, and so it makes some choices that are pretty daring. And it's just like the kind of shit I really love.
Actual preteens.
Yeah, there's like
doing like
14,
horror,
they're dying.
tropey.
Yeah,
thingy?
like it's a spoiler, but this one girl, like the big bitch of the movie, she gets killed because the killer takes a curling iron and sticks it in.
I'm sorry, that's so
She's
loud.
just like a 14-year-old bitch named Judy.
14-year-old.
It's so good. You gotta see it. You gotta see it.
Do I?
No.
Yes. I mean, it's not graphic, but I'm just like the audacity of that happening. I'm just like,
That
this
scene
is
in The
what I want to
Frightener
see.
with the, was it a chainsaw where she gets
What's the Frightener?
I've never
China?
watched any of those.
Terrifier?
Terrifier. Oh.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
I see that.
know what you meant.
I don't love Terrifier.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, he completely splits her in half. Yeah.
I've had this conversation with Brian too, where I'm more of a fan of like heady horror and stuff rather than just here's the group, everyone's gonna get killed off now.
Oh, I like that.
I mean, I think there's a sweet spot where Terrifier is just violence happening.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I can watch
Well,
the news.
Saw.
I don't care.
The Saw
That's what
movies
I
are
mean.
just violent.
Yeah, I'm not into Saw.
Except the first one.
People like the
even
soap opera
then-
quality of it. Yeah.
The Saw stuff is like very super intricate and
It's inventive.
inventive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
especially the first
knockoffs of the 80s.
Yeah, that
Like
becomes more
Human
about
Centipede and those types of movies.
Yeah, those like those paint by
Tusk.
number ones.
Yeah, I think she's talking about like all the slasher,
Oh,
the
got it.
derivative slashers. Yeah,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
it's not like
that are just very predictable. And it's
yeah,
like,
and
okay.
there's nothing exciting to watch.
Seen
The
one,
killers
seen
aren't
all.
really interesting. Like Michael Myers never says anything, but for some reason he's so captivating to me. But yeah, like the killer from The Burning, I don't give a fuck about. Yeah,
Well, tell us then what your opinion of why queer audiences like horror films so much. Like, I know that I know a lot of, you know a lot of queer
Yeah.
people that identify and like horror films.
Yeah.
What do you think that is?
I've thought about this a lot, and generally people like to say society looks at us like we're monsters, and so we like monsters in movies, and that's just flimsy to me. I don't like that.
That's kind of
It's
predictable.
eisegetic. It's not like, I don't know. But when I was thinking about it, I realized like it's sort of the ultimate form of camp.
Yeah.
Death is, an extreme expression. It's always elaborate. The really big villains that we remember, there's something very campy about them, especially Freddy, of course. But just the fact that Michael Myers is wearing a whitened out William Shatner mask, even subconsciously, is like, it's pretty and so, yeah, I think it's the excess of it all, just the nonstop screaming, the unpredictability. It's all stuff that I attribute to camp. And just as a gay person, I have always resonated with that a lot. And to me, that's what it is.
Yeah.
People can have their own opinions for why they like it because, that's their experience. And I
Right.
can't tell them how to feel.
It makes
but I think it
sense
makes
now.
sense to me. Yeah.
Makes sense now. But I always was drawn to horror because you were allowed to root for the girl because you were more likely than not that maybe she might actually survive it all.
Yes.
We talked about this last week. Mm-hmm. And so it was, I felt almost safer in that sort of genre than another one where the man was going to come out on top because it was like,
Yeah.
all right, maybe my girl's going to make it.
Yeah.
And Clover talks about that. She's like, it's the only subgenre where male audiences root for women and identify with women. It's still like incomplete because the woman has to become more manly in order to live, but still a fucking woman. And also, I don't know how deeply audience members are looking at it.
No,
But
well,
yeah,
I didn't know that until just like today, so that I learned that.
yeah, but that's completely right.
in
Like,
real time.
IRL. But yeah, it's one of the only ways that you can identify with a woman without it seeming like a chick flick. Yeah, so stupid little boys can see what it's like to be a woman for a little bit and cheer
Yeah.
for her.
I think that you nailed it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Okay.
nail her. How about
Should we
you?
take a break? No.
Let's talk about you.
Are you ready? Do you want to see me take a break? I bet you want to see me take a break. No, I'm kidding. Let's talk about me with what?
Why do you, as a gay person,
Oh, I'm sorry.
like
Are
horror
you
movies?
the podcast interviewer now?
Well, I care about your opinion.
I'm kidding. Why do I like horror movies? Well, I've thought about this too a lot. I think one of them is we talked about the final girl, like identifying with the girl or like identifying with that nature of being scrappy and surviving, right? we ourselves are survivors. So I probably go to the more predictable outcome that you just said is that we're survivors. So we relate to this idea that we can survive through this movie. I would like to see more queer representation as well. I would like to see more queer final girls, queer final...
I mean, I haven't seen they/them, but I assume whoever ends up surviving that is...
them.
Yeah,
Okay,
I've heard it was terrible, but Kevin Bacon is in it.
Oh my God, though, I'm just like hearing it for
Isn't
the
it great?
first time
That's
with
a
my
great pun, but
ears,
yeah.
they/them.
Yeah.
I just read
wow.
an article that said that 17% of box office is now horror movies.
Oh,
meaning
sure.
that superhero movies, those types of like redone IP are sort of starting to be less popular, and horror movies are now making a lot of money, and so people are starting to invest in them. For example, The Sinners was a huge box office hit.
God,
Great movie. And so now they're starting to think of like, so I think that we're going to get there, right? Because eventually it does seep in. I think that like Brokeback Mountain, for example, if you think about like a gay drama movie, like it took a while. Like the movies before that, as far as in that genre, awful. Go watch them. They're terrible. And then we got Brokeback Mountain. There's been a lot of other like gay romantic movies or dramas since then. I'm really hoping that comes into the culture as far as horror movies. Now that they're going to put some box office behind it, you know?
And like I think no matter when, horror is always profitable because it's always cheap to make and people always want to go see it.
It's cheap to make. That's
Always,
the other thing.
It is a really fun like group thing to
we could make a horror movie today, probably.
We are making a horror movie.
I mean, if you keep pointing at the wrong
listen,
where's the gays coming from?
Right,
We did though. We were making
learning.
horror films in high school,
Yeah.
for sure. Student films.
And what you're saying about queer representation, for me, it's always more about, is it good? Because I like
if it
Hellbent,
has
it's
to be
not great.
good, right.
But like a lot of shit is going to come out and it's just bad. And like I'm not going to like representation if I think it's shitty.
If it's poor filmmaking, that's what I'm saying. Is like if we can get it at the level of like the Brokeback Mountains and what was the other one with the guy that ate people's faces. Cannibal.
Many of them.
Army Hammer.
Call Me by Your Name.
Call Me by Your name. Yes, that one is
Not a horror
great
movie.
movie.
But
I'm
you're like,
talking about
who's the man who eats the faces?
Ask the Peach that. Ask the Peach if it's a horror movie.
Next episode, we had this wonderful idea to make this tie-in with Survivor, this show that we love and the show that we talk about. And tying it into horror movies, what we've just talked about. And you came up with a couple of roles or archetypes within the horror genre that you identified, and we're going to cast them. Do you want to talk a little bit about the roles that you identified?
Sure.
I mean,
I did not create these, but yeah.
Well, I mean,
but
you
you brought them.
Yeah, I think it would be fun to cast a horror movie or a slasher.
And horror movies kind of always have these, right?
Yeah, so a lot of them, like half of them came just from Cabin in the Woods. So
yes,
which is my
great movie,
number one favorite film of all time.
Oh yeah,
of all time.
We haven't even mentioned it, but yeah, that's a slasher.
That is a great.
She's
one.
a great final girl,
and it's a great like unexpected turn with Sigourney Weaver as well.
With Sigourney Weaver, not Jamie Lee Curtis like they wanted. But,
I mean, pulling out
her.
Sigourney Weaver as like a gag cast is like kind of a trope in itself.
Yeah, it's incredible. I remember you get her VO before you see her, and I'm just like, I know who that is. I was grabbing the person next to me. So gay,
right?
But like Scream, Cabin in the Woods is very meta. I may not love all these older slashers, but when they turn it on its head and they talk about it and it's like very out in the open, that's what I love.
Well, that's a movie we all three agree on. We found one. Cabin in the Woods. Go watch it now.
Completely.
Watch the episode
I'm sure
and
it's
then watch it.
Streaming somewhere. Well, the episode's almost over.
And so the archetypes.
Well, yeah, there's the final girl, of course. There's the fool, like partier, drinker. I think I broke them up into two. So there's like,
do you need the list?
No, I got it right here. I just gonna look at my crotch for.
That's
all
okay.
of you.
Look at your crotch. We'll get more views that way.
Well, they can't really. Oh, I guess they can. There's the jock, the brain, the smart person. I said the sex haver, but just like the slut, the person who fucks around too much, the person who does too many drugs or drinks too much, the nice guy, the red herring, the one who is obviously not the killer, but they want you to think is the killer. The harbinger, which is one of my favorites.
Okay,
like it's the gas station attendant.
Explain this one a little bit more. Okay, the gas.
Yeah, it's the, like Crazy Ralph in the first two Friday the 13th movies. It's the older person who's like, I know everything, and I'm only going to kind of tell you how to stay alive. But then you all die because
Yes.
you don't listen. An unbelieving authority figure, so like a useless cop, which is so common.
Always.
Yeah, always. I said the Harbinger, red herring, and the killer. Is that 10? Yeah. Probably.
Which honestly, I mean, not to blow our load for next week,
Yeah, more Patreon content coming soon.
but I think a lot of the archetypal casting of Survivor is just naturally pulled from.
Absolutely. I want to know if they have in mind these archetypes for like horror movies and if they cast similar, because it is what you just said. We have all of those in every season of Survivor.
Have either
Except
of
the
you
killer, I mean.
watched the television show Unreal?
Oh yeah, we talked about it a while ago. I saw the
Unreal,
first season.
yes.
It's
Yeah,
incredible.
Amazing. And
It's
yes,
great.
they very much are like, wifey, this is the tragic
wifey.
mess, this is the drunk. Like, they have it all. Yeah, no, I mean,
Of course.
stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason. But this specifically for Survivor, I do think plays into horror because there is
Sure.
whittled
Keep
down
thinking
to the
there's-
final
I mean,
survive.
Oh, that's strong.
Yeah, for Drag Race, they definitely are casting top 3 when they're casting, especially in later seasons. I'm just not sure about Survivor because I'm newer to it. But you can can you telegraph when you're watching an early season? Like, oh, they're going to go far, oh, they're not.
Well, Edgic kind of screwed that all up.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there is definitely, we've talked about Edgic, which is a thing in Survivor that you can tell who's going to make it. At least I've heard, I think Stephen Fishback says you can tell who's either going to win or who's going to lose the game. So top 2,
Oh, I see.
usually.
Okay.
But I don't know. There's been a lot of changing up of that in the newer era because it's like they don't want us to know. They want it to be a gotcha.
which led to season 41 of just like absolutely zero screen time for Erica, and then surprise, she wins.
Surprise, she won.
So she's a final girl.
She is a final girl.
She is the final
Yeah.
girl.
But she was not present in most of the movie.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes me think of Top Model, where for many, many cycles, the first girl to have a confessional in the episode was the one who went home.
Wow.
Unfailingly.
Well, isn't that the thing that they do in Drag Race too? Of like they expose you to their story right about when they're going to go home.
When
like
there's-
the episode
yeah.
they're going to go home, you're like, oh, we're getting a lot of this person.
Yeah, early in the season, because there's so many queens, like they have to prioritize screen time. So the one who's not going to be around for long, they're going to give them a are going Yeah. Which makes sense, but also it sucks because it telegraphs, and I don't want to know what's going to
Because
happen.
it
all the time.
telegraphs. You're saying? Can you explain that to me?
What are you talking about?
It makes it clear.
Okay, it makes it clear.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it lets you
this
know what's
is the
happening.
one.
I just don't want to do another malaprop. I just called it malaprop
Do it.
too.
Do it. Melly Prop is your drag name.
Sweet.
Oh, Miss
Nelly
Sweet
Prop.
Man.
There we are.
Nelly Prop. That's a good drag name.
Nelly Prop.
Nelly
That's what I
Prop. Yeah, I stole it from you real time. And I'm gonna use it. It's my drag name, you know.
Good.
You don't want to see me in drag. I would look like Nicolas Cage from Long Legs.
Well, people loved him.
Well, yeah, but I loved him, but you did not.
I
love
did
him.
not.
No, you thought he looked like a Real Housewife. Which
No,
there
it was just like he was in a different movie. And like I liked him in general, but the rest of the movie was so different that
yeah. He gave me the creeps in that movie. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I talked about earlier how I find comfort in the uncanny, and so like he sort of looks inhuman, but I was just like, he's in the wrong movie to be
in the
acting
wrong
like that.
movie.
But yeah, I love long legs, and I like that character, just not together.
Next episode, part 2 of The Final Girl, we're going to cast an entire horror movie with Survivor players. So we're each going to go away.
3 times. We're going to cast it 3 times.
Yes, we're going to cast it 3 times, and not 3 for each role, Winnie, but 1 for each role.
Right.
And then we're going to come back, and as a group, we're going to decide who the end casting is.
I love that. Yeah,
I love that.
Sounds
I
great.
love that. Yeah.
We're so creative.
Yeah. Well, originally we were just going to do this one episode, and I was like, that seems like a rapid fire like thing we could do at the end. But I like taking a little more time with that.
Yeah,
I just wanna come back.
because but it literally
I'm
would have
ready to
been
like-
like Final Girl 1, 2, 3, go, and yeah.
Yeah.
So and plus we didn't have a topic for next week, and we love Johnny.
Don't tell them that.
Tertiary priorities, you like me? Yeah.
This has been great. And what do you want? We missed our tagline at the end last time. Give me your flint.
Give me your flint.
Give me your flint.
Well,
You have to say
we have
it.
to like bend it towards.
I heard "Give me your phlegm."
Give me your phlegm, please.
Yeah.
Give it a slasher flavor
Yeah, on the spot. Give it give me your flank. Give it a slasher twist.
What?
Give me
I'm
your
gonna
flint.
stab
Give
you
it
with
a
my
slash.
flint.
I'm gonna stab you with my flint.
Stab you with your.
Oh,
Yeah, my
flint?
phallic symbol is gonna start a fire.
oh, wonderful.
Because
We
only
did
men
it.
can start the fires.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Excellent.
Okay, great.